Hello, I'm Bradley McAllister, and I'd like to invite you inside the studios of Bradley RM. Here at the studios, we are advancing the study and art of wood turning. I am passionate about teaching wood turning to people all over the country, here in a live demonstration. Today, let's go ahead and make a bowl. We start by mounting a faceplate to the blank. We'll mount it securely with 8 screws. We then mount that to the lathe itself. Spin it on with the hand wheel to make sure it's snug. Next, for safety, we bring up our tail stock that holds it from the back side. Once that's well centered, we'll go ahead and snug everything down. Our next move is going to be make sure our tool rest is in the proper place. We don't want it to be hitting the wood, and we want to have about a ½ inch of clearance or so there. We start roughing the outside, getting it into balance. There I'm using a square cutter. It's made out of carbide. I can also use a bowl gouge, which I'll be using next. Same operation, just a different tool. They both work equally well, depending on what you have and what you're comfortable with. We just want to get the outside of this piece round and more in balance. Now that we have it slightly in balance, we're going to start working on that outside profile. The early stages of shaping our bowl to an aesthetically pleasing shape. You can see the chips just flying away. As we take away more mass of the bowl, of the extra wood, the piece gets more and more in balance. You can see a little shake in the machine. That will go away. Once that's done, we come to the back side or the bottom side and we start to clean it up. We'll be making a gripping point here in a minute that's going to be holding the piece when we turn it around to clean up the inside. So we continue to work our way using the bowl gouge here, getting that bottom clean. Come back up, do a little more shaping on the top edge using the bowl gouge. Just taking away some of that extra mass now that we're starting to get an idea of what our shape is going to be like. I'm going to clean up the very top here using the square cutter. I want to know where the top of my piece is so I can set my profile a little bit better. Now I switched over to a round style cutter and I'll start to shape the actual curve a little bit more on the corner. Now these cutters work very nice. Now I've moved back to a bowl gouge. That center section you see there, that's going to become our gripping point. That's how we will hold the bowl onto the lathe in what's called a 4-jaw scroll chuck, which we'll be having out here in just a minute. So I'm working up that top corner, working on the profile some more. Bowl gouge is a very handy tool. Now I'm setting a set of calipers to make sure that my tenon or my gripping point is the right size to go into my 4-jaw scroll chuck. I set it with that, ready to go, check it, okay. Come in with a square cutter, start to cut that profile for my gripping point. Make sure it's just right. When I have the right depth and the right diameter, I'll come in with a little detail tool, a little pointed detail tool. I'll make a dovetail profile on this. I always mark the center also just for a reference point if I ever need it in the future. Here I'm cleaning up the bottom a little bit more now with a round carbide style cutter. Now I'm just dressing that up with a square but slightly radius carbide cutter. Remove the bowl from the lathe. We're going to go ahead and take the face plate off as our next step. Take the screws out, get rid of the face plate. Making it ready to put it into the chuck. We put the chuck onto the lathe, secure that down, make it snug. Now we'll mount our bowl blank on that tenon into the 4-jaw scroll chuck. We want the tenon to match the size of the jaws. We spin it to make sure that everything's true. We'll bring our tool rest back up. We start to clean up and shape the inside of the bowl, and this will pretty much take care of the major steps of making a bowl. And there we have our finished piece of our bowl, ready to be sanded, and off we go.